Pull it up. Let's wheel it up. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Wednesday afternoon. Another edition of Knicks Offseason Central, Episode 1. You know, the NBA season is over with. Yeah, good. Congratulations to those guys up in Beantown. But the NBA offseason has officially begun. And we got to talk about it, man. Tap into the show. And for Knicks Nation, we got a lot to talk about, man. OG Anunoby and the Knicks potentially at a contract impasse. We're going to break down Brian Windhorst's comments on that. And has a potential new trade target emerged based on some of the news and rumors that have come out in the past couple of days. So also on today's show, I'm going to give you my top 5 trade targets for the Knicks to look at in this offseason, man. One of the most critical offseasons in New York Knicks history. Tap in with me, man. This is a simulcast on YouTube, on Bleacher Report, on Twitter, on Facebook. The number one show for the fans by the fans is on and popping. So hit the like button, hit the share button wherever you are, and lock in, man. Let's get into it. Salute. All right, man. First and foremost, I got to salute the family, man. Shout out to everybody on the Facebook side of things joining me for another edition of the Lunchtime live stream. If you're at lunch right now, if you're at the JO right now, work can wait because we got to get to the off-season talk. Shout out to my franchise channel members first and foremost. Muhammad Mustafa, Coach Ruben's always in here. D-Block 1755. Shout out to my cousin Lash in the building. Never misses a show. Lopez 104. My regulars is in here. Junior Karoma, salute. Crystal DeVore, salute, man. Hope everybody is doing well on this Wednesday. Nice day out here in New York. And, might not be a great offseason if a couple of dominoes fall and it's not in the Knicks' favor. Let's get right into it, man. Here was Brian Windhorst and our guy Alan Hahn. Happy birthday, Alan Hahn, on Get Up yesterday morning when talking about the Philadelphia 76ers. Because remember, the Sixers offseason could get interesting. When they have about $55 million in cap space to deal with, could be up to 65, depending on some of the chairs that they rearrange. We know that Paul George is on their radar, but could OG Anunoby be on their radar as well, man? Here was Brian Windhorst's comments. Let's listen to it and let's react to it on the other side.
I know that last summer they did actually try to trade for him, at least had discussions about trying to trade for him. It was the extension part that really was the end of the conversation, but they have been interested in Paul George, and he would be a
By the way, another player who could, in theory, negotiate and get a contract done within hours of the end of the finals is OG Anunoby.
Yep.
Let's keep an eye on that. Most people believe that Anunoby will stay with New York, but there have been indications that he may want to test the market because he's not thrilled with what the Knicks make.
I've heard that internally as well.
know that.
Jay Williams said, I heard that internally as well. Internally where? It's kind of interesting. Now, a lot of people wanted to come down on Windhorst. Oh, what is he talking about? He's just a LeBron mouthpiece and all of that. I get it. But, I mean, if we really want to just, put our tinfoil koofies on just for a second, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that OG Anunoby's market is going to be competitive where the Knicks are concerned. He's one of the premier wings out there. You have a lot of teams, couple of teams with cap space, Philadelphia being one who could use him, OKC Thunder being another who could use him. So it's natural to expect that, whether or not Windhorst's report is accurate, I think it's natural to expect that it's going to be a competitive market for OG Anunoby. This is not going to be a cakewalk for Leon Rose and the Knicks. And if you're OG Anunoby's camp, you should be out there trying to get every dollar you can get. Hopefully he can come back at a reasonable price and a good deal. The most the Knicks they can give him, the complete max, is 5 years, $245. That's about $49 million a year. That's a little too steep for my blood. But he's a guy that the Knicks need. I mean, look at the resume that he stacked up since he got here on December 30th of 2023. An incredible winning percentage, 14-2 in January. You guys love that stat. A two-way force. And when they lost Julius Randle for the playoffs, I thought OG stepped up. I loved his series against the Philadelphia 76ers. Not just defensively on the versatility that he showed, sometimes guarding Maxey, did an exceptional job guarding Joel Embiid in crunch time in Game 4. Knicks were in foul trouble. They needed an answer. He steps in and he shut down Joel Embiid. Then offensively, super efficient from the three, super efficient from the corners, showed you some shot creation skills, attacking the basket. He had a great playoff until it was cut short by injury. So he stacked up an exceptional resume, and you have to expect that in this being his first kind of official foray into the free agent market, shopping around, hey, he's going to attract suitors. So, the Windhorse stuff is not surprising. And we're just going to have to wait and see, because the Knicks can announce his contract signing as early as yesterday when the offseason officially started. Shout out to everybody on the Bleacher Report. Moket Bucket, salute. J Bunny 9, salute. Guillermo Mosito, how we feeling, man? Mostro, how we feeling in the chat, man? What do you guys think about this OG news? Steven Mesler says if we lose OG, it's a bad trade and we need another small forward, maybe a center and a shooting guard. Yeah, you can't lose him. That you can't do. Of all the good stuff, all the goodwill that Leon Rose and Worldwide West and front office has generated over the last couple of years, you trade RJ and Quick for OG and then lose him in free agency, that would be a disaster. And like I said, there's a potential backup plan out there that I'm going to get to after this. I don't like it per se, but man, they'd be really hard pressed to figure out. They would have to figure out where do they go from there if they let OG Anunoby walk. Now, here is Fred Katz. Shout out to Fred Katz, good friend of the program. He had you got to catch him on the Catch and Shoot podcast on The Athletic. He had a podcast. He did a podcast with our guy, David Aldridge, talking about the Anunoby free agency. And this is what Fred Katz is saying, it based on the anonymous executives around the league that he polled in terms of what OG Anunoby's market value will be, what they predict he will get. Shout out to NBA New York for pulling this up. And let's hear Fred Katz's thoughts on this one. Salute to everybody in the chat. Here we go. Oh. First thing I got to do is, yeah, this should be good to go. Let's play this, man. What's going on with the sound here? All right, let me refresh. Let's give this thing a little refresh here and get to it. Do we have the clip?
Today.
Okay.
How do you think?
Here we go.
I think there is this, but I think he'll get this more or less or whatever. And he said, I think fair is 4 for 120, but I think he'll get way more. I asked him, why do you think he'll get way more? He said, because he's got the Knicks by the balls. And that was the quote. And I'm sure that quote will make it in the story. He said they can't lose him the same way Siakam's getting the max from Indiana. You can't trade for somebody, give up so much, and then let him go. It's not feasible. And
all right, so that was pretty much it from Fred Katz. So an executive that he spoke to thinks the floor is 120 for 4 years. Not surprised by that. Anybody who's been watching KFTV knows I've been thinking it's going to be 30 or northwards per year. We talked to Bobby Marks. He thinks the same. We talked to Ian Begley on Ian Begley's show, The Putback with Ian Begley. He thinks it could be at about, people he speak to think it could be about 35. Could be the floor. So it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a very big deal. And yeah, that executive is right. He does have the Knicks by the balls. They traded a young core, two young pieces to get the guy. He has an outstanding year for them when he was healthy. And now it's time to pay up. We'll see how much that CAA mafia, we'll see what the family does and if he comes back on a reasonable deal. But make no mistake, I've said this before and I'll say this again. Once he does sign that bag, expectations are going to go through the roof. You're going to need to be healthy. You're going to need to be healthy for the Knicks at critical points, not just in October, but in April, May, and June. Because a lot of the naysayers out there are saying, hey, why are you going to invest in this guy? He's injury prone. I hear it, but for me, it's a cost of doing business. You made the trade. You need him. You have no good backup plan. It's a cost of doing business. Unfortunately, they're going to have to invest in this guy. So, for me, you sign the contract and cross your fingers that it all works out. And then in other news today, Pascal got the bag. Pascal Siakam gets the bag from Indiana. No surprise there. 4-year, 189, say 190 max contract to return to the Pacers. So is OG and his camp doing the Birdman hand rub when they see this news? Now, Siakam's a 2-time All-Star, has a better resume. But how does OG and his camp look at this news? Gonna be interesting to see, man. I still think he ends up with the Knicks. I think all of this is negotiations. And he will end up with the Knicks at a high price. It's gonna cost him. It's definitely gonna cost him. Nah, mean son, 101 says, how much is that per? Sir, you got to take out your calculator. This is Knicks Offseason Central, not Math Made Easy. You're on the wrong channel. You got to do the math, man. Take out your calculator. James Whitfield, franchise channel member. Welcome to the franchise channel members, man. Salute to you. All my franchise channel members in the chat. Throw a custom emoji in there. And shout out to everybody watching on Twitter, Facebook, Bleacher Report as well. The ultimate simulcast. Isaiah Jackson, franchise channel member for 5 months, says, do you think OG will be healthy enough for a full playoff run? Because if not, what's the point if he's not going to make it to the finals? I mean, it's hard to say, man. Like, I was asked this question a couple episodes ago, like, how do you put together the perfect roster of durable players? I mean, yeah, certain guys have a history. Certain guys you can pencil in for missed time. I think OG, unfortunately, could be one of them. But it's like, how do you walk away from that after you made the investment to get him? You kind of have to see the thing through. And, you know, yeah, how do you guarantee that he makes it to April? He missed a lot of time with the elbow injury. He had the bone spurs. Then he comes back from the bone spurs, and he's back out again with tendonitis in the elbow. Makes it through the Sixers series. And even in that one, I'm like, man, every time he hit the deck, I'm like, oh, man, he's done. It's over. I don't know how you guarantee something like that. They still need depth. Absolutely. Go out there and get some depth in the draft or using your mid-level exception. Free agency, they need depth. Absolutely. They need wing depth. So, you know, is it a minutes thing? It's really hard to say with this guy, man. It's really hard to say with this guy. So let me know what you guys think there. This is a call-in show as well, man. Call me up, 657-383-1509, or you can hit me up on the KFTV Discord, 24/7. It's a group chat on steroids. So definitely jump in there, man. If you guys are new in the chat, leave me a hashtag new. I will shout you guys out. And yeah, man, so that's it on the OG Anunoby front. Reggie Clark says 4 for 140 is the most I would offer. Okay. So Reggie's got his GM hat on. Joe Blowski on the Facebook says give him 155 over 4 years. 155 over 4 years. Okay. All right. So everybody's throwing their offers out there. Let's see. I think Philly will be the biggest competition. Is it OKC? Not so sure. But we'll have to see about that. Shout out to my people on Bleacher Report team. Hashtag new. Louis CTL, salute. Wowdy11. Hoopin 2023. Paco Loco, salute. Salute to Mitchell Martin. Smoking Knicks. We got a lot of new people on the Bleacher Report. Cash Wavy, salute to you. Make sure you guys are tapping in with us on the YouTube side as well, man. That's where the madness happens. That's where the Mosh Chat is. And tonight, just a segue, man, tonight we got a big show tonight, man, because speaking of the Knicks draft, we are going to do part 2 of our Knicks draft Q&A, and that is featuring my guy Chris LeBron, man. Call in and get your prospects, questions answered. He's going to give you his top 5 Knicks targets. If you guys have more prospects that you want to talk about with Chris, go ahead and tap in with him, man. We got a big draft show tonight. And so that will start at 7 p.m. Eastern time over here on YouTube only. So make sure you guys come through for that. So other news, moving on from the OG front, other news on the waiver wire here. The Raptors expected to pick up Bruce Brown's $23 million team option and immediately trade him. Explore trade, per Michael Scotto. Now, when I put together my top 5 trade targets, it's a mix of realistic candidates who the Knicks have history with, and candidates of need. Bruce Brown is more history. The Knicks were interested in him at the trade deadline. Would they pursue that again? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not a big fan. I think he's a redundant piece to what we have right now, but can still help. The problem is we've been looking for the Bruce Brown from Denver without factoring in that was a very unique circumstance. And playing off of guys like Jokic and Murray, playing under a guy coach like a Mike Malone, whose offense was catered to Bruce Brown's strengths. I think that's hard to replicate. And as you've seen it now, he goes to the Pacers, they trade him to the Raptors all in 1 year. He's not the same guy. So, that's the thing. He was great with the Nuggets. But is he going to replicate that same thing off the bench? Hey, we'll have to see what the price is now. Is it, that's why the Bogdanovich contract is so key with that $19 million. Because is it a Bogdanovich and a pick for a Brown? We'd have to see. Kobe in the chat says, I love Bruce Brown, but we already have too many guards. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. But, again, still a name to keep an eye out on. Definitely a name to keep an eye out on. So that's Bruce Brown. Now, before I get into my top 5 trade targets, there's a lot of names. There's always names that are going around. The big fish, everybody's big fish hunting or putting that big fish target on the Knicks. But there's a couple of guys who I think I would cross off the list based on probability and my lack of interest. Just my opinion, lack of interest. For one, I'm starting with Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is another name that's out there right now. They're saying that the New Orleans Pelicans, they're going to be trying to reshuffle the decks or shuffle the decks up a little bit. The CJ experiment isn't working. You don't know what you have with Zion. They've made it into the playoffs here, but just been unceremoniously bounced out last couple of years. Well, Brandon Ingram, you have some fans talking about bringing Brandon Ingram here. I just don't see how that works out. Where do you put Brandon Ingram when he comes here? If you sign OG and you bring Brandon Ingram in here, who then you have to pay after that? Where do you put him? Who's playing the 2 guard? Who's playing the 3? Who's playing the 4? If Julius is still here, I don't see how you make a Brandon Ingram acquisition work. And there's no way I'm swapping the 2 either. And secondly, I like B.I. I don't love B.I. I look at him as one of those small-time players, man, like at Karl-Anthony Towns. I look at those guys as small-time players. I mean, he practically got benched off of Team USA, man. How you get benched on Team USA in the Team FIBA World Cup? I'm not that high on him. He's another guy that gets a little knickknacks here and there. Now, in a different situation, would it work out when Brunson takes the pressure off him and he doesn't have to, be that guy? Because I think that's part of the problem with New Orleans is that he has to be the 1A because, you just don't know what's up with Zion these days. I'm not so high on Brandon Ingram, man. What do you guys think? Namin Sun says put him at the 2 or put OG at the 2. I don't see it. I don't think either one of those is a viable option. You want to keep OG Anunoby healthy. You want him chasing 2 guards around for 82 games? So the BI thing doesn't make sense. This is one of the reports here. It says Brandon Ingram has 1 year remaining on his contract. On July 6th, he becomes eligible for a 4-year extension worth $208 million. Pelicans value his talent, down-to-earth personality, but the team does not have a willingness to pay a contract worth $52 on average. They know he's not a 1A guy. So Ingram, I don't see as a possibility for the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns, I'm putting him on my do not trade list, like a no-fly list. He's on my don't trade list. I'm not a big Karl Anthony Towns guy. I respect his offensive ability. Do I think he's a better offensive player, a better scorer than Julius? Yes, I do. Do I think that he can make this team better than Julius at this stage? Not so sure. His defense came around this year. They gave him a lot of credit for that and gave him a lot of credit for Minnesota's turnaround. I look at him as another small-time player. I don't think swapping Towns for Julius gets the Knicks any closer to competing for a championship. I just don't see it. I'd rather keep Julius. Much rather keep Julius. What do you guys think about that? Isaiah Jackson in the chat, hell no for Cat. Yeah, I'm out on the Cat thing. Reggie Clark playing the Facebook, no Cat, meow. Knicks on Vikes. Knicks owes Vikes. Okay, he's a Knicks fan, an Orioles fan, and a Viking fan. Very interesting. And the Bleacher Report says, Cat, no thanks. Yeah, I'm good on Cat. I'm going to take a pass on Karl Anthony Towns. The contract is crazy. And it's not clear on whether or not the Timberwolves intend on trading him. I mean, they had their best year in how many years with him there? Who's to say that they're going to be ready to trade him? And then you also had the Minnesota Timberwolves in ownership turmoil. You got them in their ownership turmoil. So who's making the call there? Who's calling the shots there? I'm out on Cat. My guy Ian Begley mentioned Jimmy Butler's name yesterday as being available. No trade list. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. We don't need a guy who's going to be taking the regular season off. We don't do that here in New York. We don't take the regular season off under Tibbs and the New York Knicks. We need guys ready to hit the pedal to the metal. And I think Jimmy, he's coming closer to the end of his career, not just as a basketball player, but mentally. You know, he's doing the commercials, he's into the coffee, he's into the Miami life, the Fall Out Boy stuff. Keep all of that over there. We don't need that right now. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. Hey, for Philadelphia, I think it would be interesting. I think Jimmy would be interesting for Philadelphia. DJ O'Donnell in the chat and the Bleacher Report, hard pass on Butler. Yeah, I'm good. I don't necessarily think he gets traded either. I agree with you, Mo. But I'm skipping on Jimmy. He's on my no trade list. Another guy on my no trade list, I'm skipping out on PG, Paul George. I just don't see it. I think he stays out west with the Clippers or maybe goes to Philly. But he's another guy, man. We need hungry dogs. Not guys that are just like, been in the league for so long. Look, the injury history. Can you trust him in a big spot in the playoffs? That's not a sign and trade where I'm trying to pair off so many assets for an aging Paul George. And then you got to give him a bag after that. Good podcast, though. He's got a good podcast. Shout out to Playoff P. Playoff P podcast. It's pretty good. But I'm out on that, man. What do you guys think? Call me up, man. Isaiah Jackson says, what's wrong with PG? I'm not doing a sign and trade for PG, bro. I'm not doing a sign and trade for PG. Let's see. There's Legion Hoops. James Harden and Daryl Morey's fallout could affect the 76ers' potential pursuit of Paul George. He says, believe it or not, players talk and then reputations go around like, hey, man, I don't know about going to this place because they blah, blah, blah. Watch your back, you know what I mean? Yeah, but obviously, that's business. But money talks at the end of the day. Money talks. But I'm good on PG, man. John like Dillinger and the Bleacher Report. We need players that will earn their paycheck, man. Give me some hungry dogs in here, man. Brunson, Ragu, OG, Hartenstein. Give me some hungry dogs, man. We don't need Hollywood, man. And it's nothing against Paul George. When he's on his game, he's still a great player. But just not at this stage of his career, man. Another player who a lot of you guys like, and I did dismiss the caller who referenced him a couple weeks ago. That was a funny call. Lauri Markkanen. The Markkanen thing for me, it's not about playing the player. He's a great shooter, he'd be a great floor spacer. Him and Brunson would be great. Are you going to trade Julius for him? Or the Knicks legitimately going to trade Julius for him? I don't see that. For one, you're dealing with Danny Ainge. He's going to want a haul. And if where Utah is trying to go, if they're going to trade Lauri Markkanen, I would think draft capital is more important for them than bringing back an all-star player in Julius Randle, who you then have to pay. And if you're not trying to trade Julius for Lauri Markkanen, then where's he playing? I don't see Tom Thibodeau playing him at the 5, as the caller had suggested. I don't see him playing him at the 5. Almighty Finesse, go get Sexton. Hey, maybe. Is Sexton the target from Utah? So I don't see Lauri as being realistic. I don't think the Knicks would go there defensively. A lot of you guys will say, well, Porzingis did that with the Celtics. Celtics were also a stacked perimeter defensive team as well. They had more balance defensively. You can't have your 3 best players being your 3 worst defenders if you're going to put Lauri next to Brunson and Randle. Everybody's got to defend at least average or to a high level. So I don't see Markkanen. Omen in the chat says, if you lose iHeart, you get Markkanen. I have a guy on my trade list as my as like not my top 5, but he's like honorable mention as a potential Hartenstein replacement. So fall back for that. I'll get to it in 2 seconds. And then the last guy on my no trade list, DeMar DeRozan. The reports on DeRozan is that he's going to be looking for close to $30 a year. He's looking to get paid. Our guy Bobby Marks was quoted as saying that 3 years, 30 could be the average for DeRozan. I don't see the Knicks going there on a sign and trade. I definitely don't. I don't really see the Knicks going there as a sign and trade on a DeRozan deal. Best bet is he probably stays with the Bulls, and they have no idea what the hell they're doing. But hey, best bet is I think he stays with the Bulls and gets the bag that he's looking for. People say I say it's Kevon Looney. No, I didn't say Kevon Looney. I said Kevon Looney the other day when I was thinking about a potential iHeart replacements. But that's free agency if he gets clipped by the Dubs. So it's not necessarily, the fit is interesting with DeRozan, but it's not necessarily that. I'm just thinking, would the Knicks think about second apron, think about the team that they're investing in for the future? Would committing to DeMar DeRozan on 3 years at 30 per, is that Leon Rose thinking? Is that what they're thinking about? I don't think so. They said I froze talking about DeRozan. Yeah, John Talento. Talento's on the Bleacher Report. Talento, where you at, man? You're usually a YouTube guy. Talento jumped in on the Bleacher Report today. Reggie Clark in the chat says mid-level for DeMar DeRozan. Nah, you're not going to get him for that. I can tell you that. You're definitely not going to get him for that. But I just don't see DeMar DeRozan as a realistic candidate. I do see a couple other Bulls players as realistic candidates, and we're going to get into my top 5 here and get into it, man. We are going to get into my top 5. Now, like I said, you can call me up, 657-383-1509, or you can hit me up on the KFTV Discord. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Tapping in on YouTube, on Bleacher Report, Facebook, and Twitter as well. All right, let's get into my list. Coming in at number 5. Hey, until this guy signs his bag, I think Donovan Mitchell could still be on the list, man. I think Spider could still be on the list. If Spider wants to come home and it's a one-team race, I still think the Knicks have to listen to what Cleveland's looking for. They may have the most leverage to go in there and get it done. Now, the downside to Spider, you're taking the ball out of Brunson's hands. You got two undersized guards at the 1 and the 2. You already have it with him and DiVincenzo. But how does that change? How does that dynamic change? You add another ball-dominant guard with Brunson. Not ideal. Not ideal. The overwhelming consensus right now is that he's going to re-sign with the Cavs. That's the overall consensus right now, that he's going to re-sign with the Cavs. Garland may be the guy that's on the move, and maybe he stays for the bag and they build a team around him. Maybe it's Garland and Jared Allen that's on the move. I still think, every time you expect that name to the Knicks, it's always someone who you're not thinking about. Now everybody's saying, oh, well, Spider's not the target, but I'm going to put my tinfoil kufi on and say until he signs on the dotted line, I still think he's in play. I do. I still think he's in play. Sam Sky 27 says Cleveland will ask for too much for Mitchell. Well, given that he's entering into the last year of his contract, anybody who's going to trade for him has to have some sort of promise that he's going to stick around. Javier in the chat says can't have two hymns. It's tricky. That's why he's like number 5 on my list. All right, this list it's tricky, but he's like number 5. All right. Now, number 4 on the list. I'm wondering what the Hawks do, because they got the number 1 pick. There's rumors about what they're gonna do with their backcourt. What about DeAndre Hunter, man? What do you guys think about a DeAndre Hunter potential acquisition? Now, look, a lot of you guys, you have to be realistic with your targets here. Everybody's not going to be the star target. Like, I gave you a lot of those names that I just don't think realistic trades are going to be made for. So, with that in mind, you have the Bogdanovich contract at around $19 million to potentially trade. The Knicks don't have that many tradable assets on their roster right now. So, do they go out there and get a guy like DeAndre Hunter and use that Bogdanovich trade? 26 years old, 15-3 this year, shot 38% from 3. Has he become the draft pick that everybody thought? Remember, coming into when he came out of Virginia, a lot of people thought this was the second coming of Kawhi Leonard. He has not achieved that. But I think as a young player, to help this Knicks bench depth, wing depth, remember we just talked about OG and his injury history. DeAndre Hunter did have some injury problems this year as well. But adding some wing depth for that Bogdanovich contract, I don't think that's a bad idea. What do you guys think in the chat, man? What do you guys think about that? Again, remember the assets that you have to deal with and the potential that those can get you back. We're not necessarily talking about all-stars here. But in terms of people that can help move the ball forward, I don't think it's a bad idea. What do you think, man? What do you guys think about that one? Leave me some comments in the chat. My guy in the Bleacher Report, Batista the King, says, great idea. Thank you, Batista, man. Call back anytime. So I got Spider, I got Hunter. Couple of bulls here that I'll give you. Now, if the Knicks go out there and lose, let's say iHeart goes. Let's say iHeart goes to OKC. What's the backup plan here? I gave you a couple names. Do they go get Looney if he gets clipped by the Warriors? Do they get DeAndre Drummond? You guys like Valanciunas, potentially signing Valanciunas, older? Can still get you some points and boards. Not as versatile. Do you go get a Goga Bitadze from Orlando? Here's a trade candidate, though. Again, with the Bogdanovich contract in mind and depending on what the Bulls want to do, how about Vucevic? How about Vucevic at the 5? Didn't shoot the 3 ball all that well this year. Will still get you boards, still get you some points. Can shoot the ball, potentially, has the capability of doing that. As a potential Hartenstein replacement, he's got 2 more years at $20 million on his contract. It's Nikola Vucevic, a potential iHeart replacement via trade if you lose him. What do you guys think, man? Nikola Vucevic. Again, I think iHeart comes back, but what if you lose him? What if you lose iHeart, man? Something to think about, man. Again, names that you're not thinking about that aren't just out there, you just never know. Here's another guy from the Bulls that I think the Knicks should definitely be in on, and that is Caruso. Go get me Alex Caruso for this bench. Best defender out there on the market. Cheap contract. A Tibbs guy through and through. Would fit in here like a glove. But he's going to be highly sought after. I would check in and see what's up with Caruso. The tricky thing is with Caruso is once you get him, can you afford to pay him? Once you get him, can you afford to pay him? But without question, I take Caruso in here in a heartbeat. I think the competition will be stiff. Pause. But I like that pickup. Gotta think mid-tier players, guys. The big names ain't there. The big splash, it's not there. You gotta think mid-tier. I'm good on Zach LaVine. Absolutely good on Zach LaVine. OZ says, bro, this list is a crash out with the names you're putting up for the price. Well, give me better. With the Bogdanovich contract at $19 million. Maybe you put Mitch out there, he's at 15. Who do you guys like? There's a whole list. My guy Sam Quinn from CBS put out a whole list, 75 players that he thinks might be gettable. We'll go through the list, and you give me your thoughts. But Caruso, absolutely, you try to go get him. It's going to be competition, but you try to go get Caruso in here, and I think he makes the Knicks a tough team. Continues along that trend. Man. Now, the last player on my list, number 5, man. Who do you guys think it is in the chat, man? Give me a guess. What do you guys think, man? Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to everybody in the Bleacher Report app, Facebook, YouTube. Brooks J. Answered it. And here's my last guy. You know, I wasn't as high on this guy last year at the trade deadline. But based on where the Knicks are right now, my top pick, my top target, I go get DeJounte Murray. I take a chance with DeJounte Murray here. I would. I definitely would. Can run the point for you. Can play make. Keeps you athletic. Shooting was all over the place last year. Some people say his defense took a step back under Tom Thibodeau. We're not going to have that. And I look at this guy and say, hey, listen, man, we're trying to do something special here. We'll give you a shot to start, but ideally we need you running the bench. Bench mob with Deuce. DeJounte, man. Give it a shot. You know, Knicks and the Lakers were interested in this guy last year at the deadline. What is Landry Fields going to do out there with Trey and Murray? Does the price come down a little bit? I take a chance. Look, I know you guys want everything to fit like a glove. Everybody's got to be floor spacer, efficient, and play off of Brunson. We also need a talent upgrade too, man. Like, let's not act like, the Knicks shouldn't be taking a gamble here on some talented players. Got to take a shot, man. Because soon enough, you're going to be running out of options in terms of how you build your team. Frat Guy 1906, shout out to the Alphas, says he's not coming off the bench. Yeah, I doubt it. It's more wishful thinking on my part. Like I said, this list is more people who I think are gettable, people who I believe could be had, people who I like, and realistic options given the trade assets that the Knicks have to work with, man. Call me up, 657-383-1509, or hit me up on the KFTV Discord, man. Agree, disagree? You have other names you want to bring to the list? Let's go. This is your chance. Let's get to it, man. To the phones we go. 646. What's your name? Where you call in from?
This Ty from Brooklyn. I'm not under the desk today, baby.
Let's go, Ty. Let's go, man. Talk about the list I gave you. I gave you Mitchell, Caruso, Vucevic, Hunter, Murray. That's my 5.
Caruso definitely is a great pick, but I'm with you on Dejounte Murray. But I just want to say two things real quick, my man CP. I'm jumping out the window like Alex because we got two saviors. We got Brunson, and I'm telling you, my boy Leon he's going to do that thing, and he's going to make sure that the Knicks is in a place where we need to be to go after that chip next year. I believe in Leon. Okay. And I believe that him and Brunson is going to get it done.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. What you think about OG? Are you worried or not worried?
I'm not worried at all because the fact that his son is his agent, and the fact that Leon has made all strategic moves and he's just smart. The first GM we had that's proper and years. That's why I feel we have two saviors, Brunson and Leon is our dudes, and I'm riding with them to the very end.
Salute. Ty Clemens checking in on the lunchtime grind. He said he came out from under the desk. He told Boss Man, we got important things to talk about. We got important fish to fry. It's not going on at work. It's going on at KnicksFanTV. Number one show for the fans by the fans. We got 1,400 people watching on YouTube. Everybody hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to my Bleacher Report family as well. Bleacher Report is in there heavy. And shout out to my guys on Facebook and Twitter as well. Let's see what you guys think, man. Call us up, 657-383-1509, or hit us up on the KFTV Discord. 646-806. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
It is Reece from Harlem.
Reece, what's good? You back, man. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm back.
Let's go.
Back with a good and bad take.
You know what? I give you a lot of credit because some people might have gotten ejected after they got tomatoes on the way out, man. But you came back valiantly. I respect you for that, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Always, what I'm saying? Always support. Big fan.
Let's go.
But so just I think Nick Richards. I think he's probably the best center that we can get. That'll be a cheap option because he's only owed $5 million over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
He's 7 feet tall, got a 7'4" wingspan, and he's very similar to iHeart. Very he's unproven, so he's gonna have a lot to prove. So I think he's the perfect option at the 5.
Yeah.
Especially all we have to give up is really Mitch. All we have to give up is Mitch, and Mitch is always injured, so you can't depend on him.
I'm not trying to give up Mitch for Nick Richards, though, man.
Okay. Well,
why do we got to do that?
Let's just say iHeart leaves. Let's say iHeart leaves, which is a big possibility.
Yeah.
I think then if iHeart leaves, we definitely have to try to get Nick Richards.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
And also Markkanen. As far as Markkanen goes, I still think he'll be a good fit for us. I'm sorry. I think he'll be a good fit. He's 7 feet tall. He can shoot the three. You know what I'm saying? He can rebound a little bit. I think he's a great fit for this team.
I don't know. I'm not sure is he a Tibbs guy? Is he a guy that Tibbs is going to put out there at the 5? Do you think so?
But you act like Randall can play. Randall can't play defense either.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. If it's not for Randall, I don't see those two guys being out there on the floor together. You're gonna have Brunson.
No, I'm saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we get Markkanen, we probably have to trade Randall.
And see, but that's why I put him on my not trade list, because I don't think the Knicks do that. That's again, me personally. I don't think, based on where Julius stands with the organization right now, I do not believe that the Knicks will be motivated to trade him and bring Lauri Markkanen back. I don't see it. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as the Murray take, I think Murray would be a great option too. But he would probably start at the 2. He wouldn't come off the bench.
Yeah.
He would start at the 2.
Yeah, that's where it would get tricky because, obviously I love the firepower that the big Ragu gave to this team and playing off of Brunson. I love that. But, I would take a gamble on Murray, man.
Yeah, I just think he's not athletic enough. I love DiVincenzo, but he's not athletic enough.
I agree with that.
He can shoot a 3, but he can't really, other than that, he's really ineffective.
I agree with that. Appreciate the call, man. Good stuff, man. Call back anytime.
All right.
All right, that's my guy Reece in the chat. What do you guys think about Reece in the chat, man? Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. What do you think? All I'm saying on the marketing thing, it's not about the talent. It's would Tibbs put him at the 5? Would the Knicks trade Julius Randle for him? Would Utah, you got to think, there's many different parties at the table here. What's Danny Ainge's motivation for trading Markkanen for Randle when they have no direction right now in Utah? It's a very young team. You got Keontae George running the point. Think about the mind of Danny Ainge. He's in a crowded, competitive Western Conference right now. A trade for Markkanen, from my perspective, if you want my premier front court player, I need picks. I don't want Julius and then have to pay Julius. You got to pay Julius after that. Again, that's just my perspective. That's why I don't think it's likely there. Okay, the Discord is filling up right now. Facebook, Bleacher Report, YouTube, we in here heavy. Christopher Blake, let's talk about it. How you feeling? Christopher Blake.
CP, salute. Happy Juneteenth, bro.
Happy Juneteenth, man. Man, where's my manners? 47 minutes into the show. I didn't even big up people on Juneteenth, man. Salute.
We here. That's why I got your back like you've been having our back since Frank got drafted. I got you, bro. No worries.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming through and joining the DeJounte Murray to the Knicks hive.
Yeah.
Last year I've been saying that from since. I remember I proposed a trade last year for Sadiq Bey and throwing in Clint Capella, and Mitch was on the shelf, and people booed, threw me tomatoes, and now they kind of see the vision. So I have another big one that I'm going to hit that people are not going to like.
Let's go.
We should not re-sign Hartenstein. And I love him. I love him.
Whoa.
But I'm going to tell you this why. I remember a couple years ago, maybe 20 years ago, Chandler Parsons, right? He was on the Mavs.
Yeah,
he was on the Rockets. He was on the Rockets. And Daryl Morey made a very clear point that we do not sign a Chandler Parsons. We find one and we develop them. And I think that is a similar scenario that we should approach with Hartenstein, especially since we got Tibbs. He is the center maker. We've been here before with Nerlens. We've been here before with Mitch. I think we need to go and look for the next Hartenstein before we throw the bag at him. Unless we're going to use him for trade bait. Unless. But we cannot get, hypnotized by what Tibbs does with these centers. Remember where he was at the beginning when he got to the Knicks to where he is now. That's a short 2-year development. We could find somebody else that Tibbs can probably turn around and build into the next Hartenstein. I love the boy. I love him.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I think we could use our assets somewhere else. Bring in another free agent like a Nick Claxton, steal him from Brooklyn since they don't want to give us McCall. They don't want to deal with us. We'll take his boat.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate the call. Right now, the chat is making ketchup out of my guy, Christopher Blake. He's a franchise channel member, longtime friend of the program. YouTube, Bleacher Report, Facebook. Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Is it tomatoes? Is it fire emojis? Where do you stand? I will relinquish my duties as the judge. I want to hear from you guys. He says, let Hartenstein walk. I think that would be a terrible idea. Revolution says he agrees, man. Margaret Edwards, she agrees. Okay. It's a little bit of a mix. I'm surprised. Oh, Bleacher Report is killing this guy. My guys in the Bleacher Report are throwing tomatoes heavy. Here's what I like about iHeart. Defense rebounding took a major step up since he got here. You need that. The Achilles thing was a tricky, but he's still a durable player. You know, how many games did he play for the Knicks this year? 75. He played 75 games out of 82. He's durable. The Achilles thing was a little bit of an outlier. Something he was dealing with from last year. Love the two-man game that we saw develop between he and Brunson. His passing ability. Look at the Celtics. The Celtics are the bar. As much as we want to hate to admit, the Celtics are the bar. They're the team to beat. 1 through 5, they are versatile. 1 through 5, they can play make for each other, put the ball on the floor. For the most part, everybody has varying degrees of skill set there. I like that with Hartenstein. When you put 2 on the ball on Brunson and you dump it to Hartenstein, he's sure-handed. Mitch has to work on that. He can get the floater. Floater was potent this year. He can kick it out to the wings. He's got the IQ. I like that in Hartenstein at the 5. It's not to say that Tibbs can't develop that type of player, but do the Knicks have time? The window is now, right now. You need some stability there. And it's not to say that he's irreplaceable. I just think he's crafted such a important role for this team. I would love to see them move forward with him. That's all. Now, you still have Mitch. Do you keep Mitch? Get a backup plan if it's Looney on a mid-level exception, and then maybe you go get somebody in the draft, or maybe Sims take a step up. Okay. That's not a bad plan B to go in with. But if you do lose Hartenstein, the guy that you need either starting or backing up for Mitch has to be an innings eater. You need a reliable guy out there because Mitch is going to miss time. He's going to miss time. But that's my guy, Christopher Blake. Harrison Dolan on the Discord. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Harrison Dolan. All right, I see you are trying to unmute. Go ahead and restart your Discord. Jump out the Discord and try it again. Let's try him again. Harrison, are you there? Try it again. Unmute.
Hello?
You got you now. Got you.
All right. What's up, CP? Happy Juneteenth. And I hope your Father's Day was good as well, man.
Likewise. Yep. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So people have brought up Ingram, Cat, Lauri Markkanen as trade options, but you know who's better than all those guys? Julius Randle.
Talk about it. We're going to put some respect on 30's name today. Let's go.
I don't get this trade Randle stuff. Butler and Paul George are old, and Randle's on a good contract.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm team Stan Pat. If we didn't get injured, we would have easily given Boston the best series. We have incredible players, and now we know what we're up against. I think the most important parts of the offseason, just keep OG and Isaiah, potentially bring Rokas Pocus over to fill that backup point guard role.
Jakobitis, yep.
He's hungry to prove himself in the NBA, and with him and Deuce, I think the backup backcourt would be pretty strong. The Alec Burks' insurance, possibly trade Boyan. If Isaiah leaves, Nick Richards could be strong for Looney. The only players I would trade Randle for are Giannis, and if he gets his head on straight, Zion, because those are the only guys I see that are true talent upgrades. Randle's a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and we're just going to trade him. I don't think it's a good deal. But I think we're contenders right now. We saw this team in January, and I think we should run it back.
Okay. Appreciate the call, man. Good to hear from you.
CP.
Yes, yeah. I'm here.
All right. I have one question for you before I go.
Yep.
So Jaylen Brown just won Finals MVP, correct?
Yep.
Do you think Jalen Brunson is a better player, and why?
I like two-way players. I got to go with two-way players. I got to give the two-way player the nod there. But, different roles, though, as well. Jaylen Brown, If you put Jaylen Brown on this Knicks team, are they a better team? No, I don't think so. You know, he's in a different position, but for his team, you know, I got to give the edge to a two-way player, man. He took on Luka Doncic, and then on the other side, he's scoring, he's playmaking for Boston. But again, they're different roles, completely different roles. It is extremely difficult to be a two-way player in the league, and I don't think we give those guys enough credit. I really don't.
That's why we need to keep OG. Definitely.
There you go. There you go.
All right, man. Enjoy your week, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Call back anytime. Harrison Dolan on the Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to that, I gotta give I gotta give the nod to the two-way player. Someone says no left hand Jaylen Brown. Well, where's he putting that championship ring? On the left or the right? Because Boston doesn't get it without him, and they're a deep team. Hoops hype top 30 players for the 23-24 season. Brunson 6, Tatum Brown 7 and 8. You know, that's just one man's list. That's just one source's list. B. Swade, $5 Super Chat says, you can do Sadiq Bey and DeJounte Murray for Bojan with the RJ OG trade exception. What do you think? I think the Hawks will need a lot more. It's going to have to be a lot of draft compensation. You're going to have to put a lot of draft compensation in there for the Hawks, as they could be rebuilding. But yeah, I like DeAndre Hunter, though. I think that could be a sleeper pickup. Levels on the Discord. Levels, go ahead. Levels, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
This is Levels. I'm calling in from New York, Queens, New York.
Queens, get the money. Let's go. Let's get it in perspective.
Salute Alex, salute CP, salute KnicksFanTV, salute everybody.
Absolutely,
so,
man.
Speaking from the Bleacher Report at Mo Get Buckets, everybody's asking, how do you feel about Miles Bridges or Kelly Oubre?
My thoughts on Oubre have changed since I saw him last year with Philly. I always looked at him as a dog. Not like a dog, like a tough player, like a dog, like a guy who dogs it. Like a straight up Chuck and not really focused. You know, he's one of those guys, or like if they had the mental toughness to go with their physical ability, they'd be way better than they've played out, than their careers have played out. But it seems like he found some stability there with Nick Nurse in Philadelphia. They definitely got him on a steal. If you're talking about the mid-level exception for him, yeah, by all means, I would go get a player like that. I think you can get exceptional value there. I'm sorry?
Yeah, he surprised me in the playoffs, too. He surprised me. How he was playing defense and everything on Brunson, making it a little tough on him for a couple games. I think he'll be a good fit. Well, and I don't know what Charlotte's situation is with Miles Bridges, too, but I think he's a good fit for our bench as well.
Yeah, and they're saying Philadelphia will be in on Miles Bridges as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Knicks fans have asked about it. I mean, again, he's another guy. Where are you playing him if you bring him in here?
You could he would. I think he would be open to coming off the Knicks bench. I don't think he would start on this Knicks team, but he would be able to come off the bench and probably give you some good minutes.
Yeah,
in the bogey role.
I don't know. A guy like a Miles Bridges, he's trying to get the bag.
Yeah,
I'm not
and then
sure.
Also, it's a backup point guard that's very buy low right now on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should take an eye on him. He killed us a couple times at MSG. I've been there in the building.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you feel about him, but how does a name like Josh Giddey sound?
I think it sounds terrible based on his history. I don't think the Garden's going for that.
Yeah, I don't think the Garden's going for that.
I don't think the Garden. I mean, again, the Miles Bridges same way. Like, are the Knicks going to go in that direction with these guys? And yeah, both of them got cleared. But I don't know. I don't think the Knicks go that way. A guy like Miles Bridges, he's 26 years old. Does he come off the bench for the Knicks? I don't see it.
Because I think I heard rumors about the Suns trying to make a push for Miles Bridges too. back at the trade deadline, but he would have been coming off the bench as well. So
yeah,
I'm not. So yeah, but that's just all I really have. Honestly, I think the Knicks should just keep the team the same, run it back with Randall, try to re-sign IHR and OG at all costs, and just see what it could have been.
Okay.
And draft to use the 2 draft picks. Use them.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call. Rate that call in the chat. My guy Levels on the Discord. Rate that call in the chat, man. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. He's putting Miles Bridges and Josh Giddey into the mix. Jersey boy KB on the Bleacher Report says, Oubre definitely changed my mind about him in the playoffs. Likewise, I agree. He played a lot better. And if you're talking about the mid-level exception, getting a depth piece, by all means, go for it. You know, a couple of the targets who I like with the mid-level, when my man talked about a backup point guard, is Tyus Jones, and I still like Monte Morris, even though he had an injury-plagued season last year. When I think about the Knicks culture, fit, his ability to play defense and knock down a 3, I think him and Deuce would kind of be that, you know, Dollar Tree, Drew and White, just getting after it on the defensive end with those second units. So I do wonder if the Knicks would have some interest there. He went to Detroit, really didn't play, and then he went to the Timberwolves. Mirage said I had to get out the shower to rate that a 1. So, Amazola says, I love Miles Bridges. You know, the Knicks have not shown much interest with guys who have, you know, some dark clouds on their resume, whether it's legit or not, whether they get cleared or not. The Knicks have been playing it safe. So, I don't know. Giddey's not a guy that's on my radar, and Miles Bridges isn't the guy that's on my radar. So, all right, so this is what we've heard so far from the callers. I gave y'all my 5. Mitchell, Caruso, Vucevic, Hunter Murray. I think it's a mix of lower-end mid-tier players to higher-end mid-tier players like a Murray to all-star like a Donovan Mitchell, who's probably, of the big names, to me, still gettable, and I wouldn't necessarily count that out. Now, the callers have called in with their opinions. We've heard Miles Bridges, Nick Richards, Josh Giddey. Who else? Who else did we hear? Who else was the name that people threw out there? And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be interesting, man. I think the moves that the Knicks make will be a name that, as it usually is the case, someone who you haven't really heard much on the rumor report, on the hot stove. Talento says he likes the Tyus Jones idea. Doe Pesci, trade for Hunter Murray, grab Green from Chicago. He's cheap. I like that. Eddie SFL, $5 Superchats says, is iHeart someone that Tibbs created? Can he do this elsewhere? Heat are known for this. Players don't look as good anywhere else. Well, look, he gave Tibbs a lot of credit for his development. iHeart did come in here already with a high, I think, IQ offensively in terms of moving the ball. He shot the 3 ball a little bit more with the Clippers. But no question, his defensive rebounding and his defense overall improved under Tom Thibodeau. I'm not saying that that's irreplaceable. I'm just saying where the Knicks are right now, I feel like he gives them tremendous balance offensively and versatility offensively. And being another guy that can help move the ball for you. Stoic J, Patrick Williams, I think he stays with the Bulls. I think he stays with the Bulls. Patrick Beverly, I'm totally out on Beverly, man. I'm done with Beverly, man. I was asked that the other day on an interview. The Beverly name is more impactful than Beverly the player, man. I'm good, man. I think he talks way more than he can deliver these days. I'm not impressed with anything that he does on the court. He'd be more annoying than anything else. I just don't think that the Beverly move is necessary for the Knicks, man. Somebody said, what's up with Kuzma? Well, remember, Kuzma had a chance to go to Dallas. How much do things change in these NBA Finals? Or do they even get there? They get Kuzma in the mix. He passed it down. I don't understand why he did that. You had a chance to get out of Washington, get out of a dump like Washington, and then go to Dallas with Kyrie and Luka, and he turned it down. So, again, if he comes here, is he looking for a bench role? Because that's all I see. Where else are you going to play Kuzma? I think he will leave Washington eventually, but I don't know. What is Kuzma really trying to do? Yeah, forget the Patrick Beverley stuff, man. He's a podcaster, not an NBA player anymore. Again, the name, when Pat Bev used to be a dog and he was generating his name as a guy who got it out the mud, he was very much a guy who I would love here. Now, it's not worth it. The juice ain't worth the squeeze, as they say. Shout out to my guys on Bleacher Report. Shout out to my guys on Facebook, on YouTube. We are rocking in here heavy, man. If you guys are new in the chat, once again, leave me a hashtag new. I'll shout you guys out. We got damn near 1,500 people watching on YouTube. And I completely forgot, man. This is how I'm so much on my Nick wave. I said lunchtime grind. And some people still working, like emergency workers, transportation people. But it is Juneteenth. It's a national holiday. So we came on right at the nick of time. No pun intended. Because you guys are home. I'm the only one working. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. Totally forgot, man. Juneteenth national holiday. Totally forgot. Another quick reminder, tonight we got NBA Draft Part 2 Q&A with my guy Chris LeBron. If you guys want to talk about prospects, if you want to learn about prospects, this is the show for you to do so. Call in. This is an interactive show. Call in. Bring your brick to the table. And we're going to build that way, man. We're going to get into it with my guy, Chris LeBron. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Then, Thursday, tomorrow, at 12 o'clock, my guy, Kenny Albert, is joining the show. Kenny's got a new book out. Came out last year called A Mic for All Seasons. And we're going to talk to Kenny about his illustrious career. We're obviously going to talk to Kenny about Knicks. And much, much more, man. So I'm looking forward to that show. Very much so looking forward to that show, man. I highly respect Kenny and his career. Son of the Hall of Fame legend, Marv Albert. So Kenny Albert's going to be here on Thursday. We're going to do draft tonight. So, hey, we keep it going here on the number one show for the fans, by the fans. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Darlene Bryan, I see you in the chat. Salute. Will Latimer said he's on the grind. So shout out to Will. Michael Ortega's on the grind. Salute, man. Everybody on the grind during this national holiday, we appreciate you, man. Wallflower, greetings from Romania. Salute. Gene Paradiso, salute, man. Yeah, maybe we got to figure out some more blogs to do, man. We definitely got to figure out some more blogs to do as well. Talento's in the Bleacher Report, singing the gospel, man. He says subscribe on YouTube. Absolutely. Definitely. We got a good crowd here on Bleacher Report as well. Good crowd on Facebook, so salute to you guys. $5 super chat from Joshua Margolis says, what about a Garland and Allen for Bogey, Mitch, and 3 firsts? You never getting that from Cleveland. That's not going to happen. So we'll see. Is Garland the odd man out there? Certainly possible. But I don't think you get that from you gotta pay to play, man. My man's working on 2K trades while he's home, while he's off from school. He's working on 2K trades. All right, we'll take a couple more calls before we wrap. Who else we got? Okay, Deej, I see we're gonna close with Deej on the Discord. Yeah, S on the Discord. Unmute your mic. Can't see the full name. Stay mellow. There you go. Let's go.
Hey.
I lost you again. You still there?
Yeah, hang on.
Loud and clear. How you feeling?
Hey, how's it going? This is Will from North Carolina calling in.
Okay, what's up, Will?
Basically, the one thing I want to talk about is I think we should talk about Brandon Ingram more. I think if we get Brandon Ingram, I think that's going to give us a lot of versatility.
Who are you trading for Ingram, though? Where do you see him playing?
I think we just put him at the 2 because, he's a good shot creator. He playmakes for others. And I think we give up Bogey, give up Mitch, and give up picks for him. And then I know another caller the other day was talking about Nick Richards. Mm-hmm. And maybe we can swap out, get him play backup at heart. But yeah, that's all I got.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I like the Richards potential. I think that one certainly has potential. Now, this caller, rate that call in the chat, man. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. This caller thinks that Ingram can play the 2. I don't see it. Anthony Martin says Ingram helps us flip for a true star. Well, once you hit the second apron, you can't aggregate contracts. So I think the flip talk it's nice, but I'm not sure if it's as realistic when it comes down to it. Brandon Ingram at the 2. I don't know. I just don't see it. The 6-footer and the Bleacher Report Kevin Durant would be a nice pair of Brunson. I think he'd be perfect. From what we've heard from Phoenix is none of those guys are available. I wouldn't want Bradley Beal. Nowhere near Bradley Beal, but for Booker and Durant, those guys aren't available. Phoenix isn't going to bail on that plan just yet. Maybe things change by next year's trade deadline or by the end of next year. But new ownership, once they got rid of the coach, you're going to try to see that investment through, even though it seems like a flop right now. Things can change, but as of right now, it seems like a bit of a flop, that trade. Okay? All right, who else we got here? Let me make sure the phone lines are cleared. Oh, phone lines are not cleared. We got a ton. All right, rapid fire, people. Let's go through the phones. 203, what's your name? Where you calling in from? Rapid fire.
Hey, CP.
Yo.
It's Frat Guy, 1906, man.
Frat Guy, man. So let's go.
Yeah, man. So I think that the front office should do everything they can to re-sign OG and iHeart. But if not, I think a backup plan would be to sign a big man and try to draft a big man from the draft, like somebody like an Edey from Purdue. And also try to do everything they can to try to trade for Murray, DeJounte Murray, and Hunter. That would be a good look for our bench. But I know DeJounte's not coming off the bench. He would want to be a starter, but yeah. Hunter would be a good pickup for the bench. What you think?
Yeah, I agree, man. They're in my top 5. Those 2 are my top 5. I think Hunter and Murray will be solid pickups for us. For sure. Appreciate the call, man. I'm just going to go rapid fire through the phone. 646, what's your name? Where you calling in from?
Yeah, 646 is Joel from Brooklyn.
Hey, peace. How you feeling, man? Happy Juneteenth, man.
Happy Juneteenth, my guy. Appreciate you all you do this first time caller.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say hot take is essentially OG is gonna end up doing a descending deal. If you've seen what this front office has been doing, a lot of times they do these descending deals.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with Brunson's contract. I feel like it's gonna be a big number his first year, but it's gonna descend, and additionally the salary cap is gonna keep increasing, and especially looking at the iHeart deal, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna bring him back. There's a lot of first and second apron considerations, so. Look to see what we do on the draft. Like if we keep the draft pick and we pick up a center like the last caller said, look at that very with your eye, because we might end up having to move Mitch just because of first and second apron considerations.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call.
Yes, sir.
Good call, man. All right, 516. What's your name? Where you calling in from? Hello.
Hello.
Yes. What's your name? Where you calling in from?
CP, what's good, man? This is not me, some 101 calling in.
Oh, what's good, man? How you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling well, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I know you come to me in the chat, so I'm like, let me call in and come for him.
Appreciate
respectfully and pose all that. So here's my thing, right? We're talking about putting talent on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mentioned B.I. and OG. I understand it's not a perfect fit. However, it gives us versatility. It gives us length, pole. He's somebody who can get his own shot, who can create for others, who can be a ball handler. He's an all-star, an Olympian. He's played with other talented all-star caliber players as in Zion and C.J. McCollum. So we're going to force anything. I'd rather force that than a DeJounte Murray.
That's fair, but again, at least with DeJounte Murray, you can play him at the 2. You can bring him off the bench. Well, B.I., you're really going to bring him in as a 2?
I mean, it's not. I'm saying it's not perfect, but we play RJ at the 2, so we could play RJ at the 2. We damn sure could play B.I. at the 2, and we're going up against the Celtics in their wings.
Yeah.
And you don't got to play the 2 for 40 minutes. You still got Dante. You still got Deuce. You know what I'm saying? So. Again, it's not perfect, but we need talent. We need talent. We need versatility. We need scorers who can get their own shot. Everything can't be on Brunson all the time. And at least B.I. is a ball handler as well. I know it's not perfect, but I'd rather go with that than a Murray or even a Spider at this point in time.
Okay, appreciate the call, man. Call back anytime.
All right, peace.
And he's in the chat right now, people. So let him know how you feel, man. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Let that guy know how you feel, man. Nah, I mean, son 101, man. Adam in the chat. 40470. Did I go to you already?
CP, what's up, brother?
Who's this?
This is Raul from Atlanta.
Oh, how you doing, man?
All right, so I had a comment, a question about the draft, but I wanted to make a comment about the Lauri Markkanen thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about Lauri Markkanen, not for Randall, but for Bogdanovich and picks? Where we can have him coming off the bench. He's Randall security. He's only $16 million a year, so he keeps us under the second apron. And depending on what happens, we can keep him off the bench. We can replace Randall. It makes us a little more flexible. That's what I thought about marketing. But my actual question was, Ryan Dunn. I was watching another Knicks podcaster, and he was reading Ryan Dunn's high school scouting report going into college. And they said his best asset was his shooting. 3-level scorer, good mid-range, good pull-up. It was our Legion of Knicks podcast. He read through the whole thing, and his scoring was supposed to be his biggest emphasis. Is it that he got to college and that system didn't work for him? Have you heard this before? That's my question.
Yeah,
thanks for the time.
Great question, great call. Call back anytime. We're going to talk about that with our guy Chris LeBron, man, on tonight's draft show, which is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk Ryan Dunn. He did work out for the Knicks. And this was the second comment I had heard on that matter where someone had left a comment, I think, on the draft Q&A part 1 with our guy Corey Tullable. You guys can tap into that. And they were saying that they felt like he was being utilized incorrectly at Virginia. So, I'll let you guys in the chat, you guys who have covered the draft a bit better than I have, comment on it. I would love to learn that, because if people feel like his shot will come back around in the right NBA system, then I'm all for it. Go get this guy. This is the best wing defender in the draft. Bring him on board. But if he's going to be in the construction business, leave him at home. We need shooters. We need efficiency. We don't need Isaac Okoro's. Now, they think he's a game-changing defender. I love to hear that. He could bring some more wing defense, some more wingspan, some more athleticism, all excellent. But I got to be confident that he can shoot the ball at least at an NBA level, man, before I even consider it. But it's gonna be interesting to see, man. We'll talk to Chris LeBron about that. Along with other prospects that the Knicks potentially have on their radar. And Chris will also be giving you his top picks as well, man. 760, what's your name? Where are you calling in from? 760. All right, he's out of there. 919, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
No, CP. Peace, blessings, and positive vibes.
Peace, blessings, and
man?
positive vibes, man. My guy, man. How you doing, Shamik? How you feeling, bro?
Man, happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Unfortunately, I'm one of the people that has to work out here today.
Okay. We salute you, man, on the grind.
Yeah. One name that we haven't talked about as a potential if Brian leaves. What about Andre Drummond? How do you feel about him as a potential backup?
Yeah, I mentioned that name. Wouldn't be a priority for me if I'm the Knicks, but yeah, you could certainly look into bringing Drummond not back, but back home to back up Mitch. Did really well last year.
So
undervalued last year, underpaid last year for the Bulls. I would look into it.
Get him for cheap.
Get him for cheap.
Get him for cheap.
Yeah.
And player I would like to have probably would be Sadiq Bey. I don't know if that would be possible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, OG is not very. You say pencil some time out for Mitch, you're going to have to pencil some time out for OG as well.
Absolutely.
We need to be healthy. And, it's things I got right now, everything else is pie under the sky. Like,
yeah.
Because I would love to have him as our 3.
Yeah.
But, again, that's not possible.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call. I think your call was coming in and out, so pause. But, yeah. No, I agree with that. Sadiq Bey, I don't think he's not untouchable. I think you could put anything up against Sadiq Bey, but as an OG replacement or no, as a depth piece, sure. But with OG, yeah, he's another guy who you could pencil in injury time with. Unfortunately, shout out to Tron Senior in the chat, says hot take: if OG doesn't opt out, signs an extension, more flexibility with the Knicks front office, meaning, yeah, if he doesn't opt out, if he takes his player option this year and then looks to re-up in the future, sure. But an injury-plagued guy like that, you think he's really going to leave money off the table to pass on it? I mean, I get it and how it would help the Knicks, but I think he's going to be looking to help himself first, and you can't really blame him. Because if he goes into this year and let's say, God forbid, loses the entire season, half a season due to a major injury, then he's going to cost himself next year. Certainly possible that he gives the Knicks a break, but a guy with his status, I think he's going to take the money. King Deej, close us out. King Deej on the Discord.
CP, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. King Deej on the check-in. Let's go.
Let's go, man. First and foremost, I'm going to do this rapid fire so you can close up shop. Salute to you. Salute to everyone in the chat, gang. Hit that thumbs up button for your boy. We'll talk draft later, CP, when I get home.
Yes, sir.
I just want to tap in on the theory that you presented. And shout out to my guy, D Black, on Twitter. He's been a huge advocate of Hunter as the backup wing behind OG. Knicks fans, you remember what Hunter did to us in that Atlanta series. Guarding RJ, guarding Derrick Rose, guarding Randall one-on-one with Clint Capella and John C. following and stalking. So CP, if we could do that trade, get both of those guys, DeJounte and Hunter. And I know it might cost you McBride, but for everyone that's, I'm Team McBride to the law firm to the fullest. But the problem is, if you get DJ, and look at those Spurs numbers, man. If you get DJ here backing up Brunson, they'll split the time on the point guard position. And then you got Hunter backing up OG. You got def lineups of Hunter and OG. You got Dante and Hart off the bench. It's a good formula, man. So I just wanted to give you a shout out. I like that a lot. Hopefully they can look into it. I'm not so sure what's going to happen because, the Hawks is looking at either Donovan or the French kid. It seemed, I don't know where Lance going. Yeah. Again, shout out to you, man. That was a good idea. I'm all for it. It might cost us McBride. It's not just going to be Mitch and Bojan, but it might cost us McBride. But if you could get DJ and Hunter, that's the way to beat Boston. They took out 2 and replaced 2 with Kristaps and Drew. So you got to do that same formula, man. So shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everyone, man. Let's go Knicks.
I'm with it, man. Salute King Deej, man. Way to close the show. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I think Hunter would be a good under-the-radar piece, depth piece for the Knicks. And again, you kind of got to look, when you think about the list or the list that I even gave you, you have to think about it in the lens of what the Knicks have to trade, who's out there, and again, what the assets that they have to trade for. So that's why it's a little bit of a mix. Yeah, these names individually may not jump off the charts like, oh man, what a fantastic player. But you have to think about how they would help this team move forward and how they would fit this team moving forward. That's why I came up with the list that I did. But if you guys have more ideas, man, keep the conversation going. Leave a comment in the chat. Leave a comment under the video. Shout out to the replay gang. Leave a comment on Bleacher Report, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you guys are watching this from. At me, at KnicksFanTV, at CP the Franchise on all major podcast platforms, or all major platforms rather. And remember that the show's available in audio podcast format, man. No reason to miss it. We're available in all major podcast platforms. Let me get through the Superchats and we'll wrap up for today's show. James Whitfield, DR, Isaiah Jackson, all my franchise channel members, appreciate it. Darius Thomas says, backup forward Andrew Wiggins. He can fill in as a starter, reunited with Tibbs. I say no, thank you. I don't know. Again, with Wiggins, he's got family stuff. It just doesn't seem like he's locked in on basketball right now, and I would stay far away from him. Fred Wong, $5 Super Chat says, no trades, only free agents. Clay, PG, Bobo, Oubre, don't worry about the cap. You pay whatever the tax is for a championship. I think Clay's beyond washed. He's another guy who I wouldn't necessarily target. That's just my opinion. PG, I wouldn't do it. I mean, Bobo, whatever. I mean, I don't see much in him. And Oubre, I would take him on mid-level for sure. B. Swade, got that already. Andre Brown, $5 Super Chat says, OG's a poor man's Kawhi Leonard. Amari Stoudemire vibes. I hope not, but I don't think you could argue that right now, but we'll see. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully not. Eddie SFL, appreciate it. Joshua Margillies, appreciate the Super Chat. And OK Burt, $5 Super Chat says, I feel like we need to be more practical in free agencies and draft. Gary Trent Jr., Shetty Osman, Malik Monk in the draft, a senior that's ready maybe. Yeah, definitely want to go with upperclassmen or anybody that's really going to be plug and play ready. I don't think the Knicks are really looking for guys to be on the development track. Somebody that can come in here and be a back end of the rotation player would be ideal. And those guys typically are upperclassmen, but you just never know. You might find a diamond in the rough, a next G.G. Jackson, if you will. I think that would be great there. All right, so that's my spiel. Salute to everybody who tapped in once again, man. Great show, constructive conversation. That's what we're looking for on these shows. And be sure to tap in, like, share, subscribe. Thanks again for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Juneteenth and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.